Hurricane watches are in effect for the Texas coast as Nicholas gets better organized. Good evening. It's 11:45 p.m. at the time of this recording on Sunday night. I wanted to give you a nighttime update on Nicholas because we have some interesting things going on with Tropical Storm Nicholas. You can see it there sitting in the Western Gulf, bursting, and the Hurricane Center advisory as of 11 p.m., I'll show you in a minute, has the center down in this area here I just circled. But we're getting a lot of reports from the Air Force hurricane hunters that it may have reformed more inside this blob, which could have dramatic implications as far as track and intensity. We'll talk about it. Now, here's the latest as of 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern on Nicholas. Tropical Storm Nicholas was at 22.5 north, 95.5 west, okay? Remember these, 22.5, 95.5. And the winds were 40, minimal tropical storm moving north at 2. And again, is forecast to make landfall along the Texas coastline early Tuesday morning. Could be late Monday night or Tuesday early afternoon. And then just slow down. Look at this. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Very slow movement, what's left of it into Louisiana. And the threat for really, really devastating flooding rains is a very real possibility. We have a hurricane watch from Port Aransas to Freeport, Texas, and a tropical storm warning from the mouth of the Rio Grande to High Island, and then down into northeast Mexico as well. And we also have a tropical storm watch from east of High Island, Texas, to Sabine Pass. So the watches and warnings at 11 were extended to the northeast. Now, the computer models continue to take this thing right up along the coast and have landfall anywhere really with the angle of the coast from Corpus all the way up to areas here of Galveston Bay, most likely somewhere in the Port O'Connor, Port Lavaca area, but again, it could be anywhere in this region, and it's expected to be a strong tropical storm, about 65 miles per hour, maybe a hurricane or maybe close to hurricane. Here's the H-Wharf model as of 12Z. You can see it brings it close to hurricane strength in about 30 hours. Now, here's our situation, though. This is the radar imagery. Now, I told you the Hurricane Center has it at 22.5, 95.5. So that would be way down here. But what everybody, including the Hurricane Hunter aircraft, is finding is you could see there is clearly a center where I just circled in white, about 200 miles to the north and northeast of where the 11 p.m. Prague was. So if the center has reformed in here, it has gotten its act together dramatically in just the last 45 minutes since I've been preparing this video. And I'll tell you this much, we might see a special update from the National Hurricane Center because some of the winds that they are finding in here are pretty darn close to that 60 miles per hour that is forecast to be by landfall. So we might see a track adjusted to the right, and we might also see the intensity increased perhaps even to a hurricane. So this is becoming a slightly more serious situation. Look at this radar from weather.us. You can see it there. Right in here, it's looking a lot better organized. Now, it could spin up and spin down quickly. However, just because of that wind shear, it's still over very hot waters. And if we obviously are not seeing a center down here anymore, then this reformation into the convection with the stronger winds could mean more intensification. So we're going to watch this throughout the night. I know it's kind of confusing. Basically, when systems are ill-defined like this, a new center could reform hundreds of miles away. So as we thought the center was down here, it now appears to be more up in this region here where the convection is bursting and it does have more of a favorable shape to it. In other words, the center is a lot less favorable down here getting sheared than it is up to the northeast. So if it is moving in the same direction as the shear, kind of getting a more ventilation, we might see intensification. The National Weather Service in Houston is warning of widespread heavy rains expected. Look at some of these amounts. We are talking 15 to 20 inches in areas of Houston, Texas, Beaumont, Texas, down near Galveston. 15 to 20 inches. Some of the computer models, the Euro was showing 51 inches. I mean, historic rainfall with that flow of tropical moisture and then the slow movement of the storm as it moves in. So there is a very, very high likelihood of dangerous flash floods, and that's from the National Weather Service in Houston. Look at this rainfall. This is over the next 3 days. Some of these rain amounts easily 10 inches or more right along the Texas coast, but that doesn't mean Louisiana ain't going to get rain. You guys there in western Louisiana are definitely within that 3, 5, 7-inch period by day 2 and 3 if that moisture continues to pump in. And that's why we have a higher and higher moderate flash flood risk all the way from Corpus back over to Lake Charles up to Houston, and this will probably be extended even further as we go on through the middle of the week. Now, if it does become a hurricane, Category 1, I don't think it would become a Category 2. I hope not. But you always want to prepare for one category higher. So in this circumstance, if it's going to be possibly near Category 1, prepare for maybe a high-end Cat 1. You could see water rises up to 3 to 5 feet between Port O'Connor and St. Louis Pass, and 2 to 4 feet in Galveston Bay. Of course, they have that seawall there protecting them since the 1900 hurricane, which killed 6,000 to 12,000 people, one of the deadliest days in the history of the United States. Here's the upper level wind shear, and you can see a lot of wind shear in the Atlantic. All that red is very unfavorable, but we have little safe harbors. If something's developing down here, if this wave that we're watching develops here, if there's a wave leaving Africa and that develops here. So just because it looks unfavorable, I mean, well, look, we had a Category 4 hurricane hit Louisiana a few weeks ago. It can happen. This is the wind shear over Nicholas, and you can see there's this high pressure aloft to the south of it, and with the trough here over Mexico, we are getting shear. However, if the system is kind of moving in the direction of it, it's almost firing in defiance of the shear. So it's not favorable for rapid strengthening, but it is favorable enough over those very hot waters to allow intensification. The key messages for Nicholas as of 10 p.m. Central: periods of heavy rain expected to impact Texas and Louisiana through the middle of the week. Significant rainfall amounts are possible, possibly resulting in areas of considerable flash and urban flooding, especially in highly urbanized metropolitan areas. You know what that is up there in Texas. That is Houston, Texas. Even San Antonio, you guys might get into rainfall. You guys got to be careful. If it moves and sits over a metropolitan area, we could see a lot of flooding. There is a danger of life-threatening storm surge along the coast from Port Aransas to St. Louis Pass. Listen to local officials who will give you updates on that. And number 3, Nicholas forecast to be a strong tropical storm late Monday and early Tuesday. Could be near hurricane strength. And again, watch this very carefully because hurricane conditions are possible from Port Aransas to Freeport late Monday. By the time you see this update, it's after midnight, so late tonight. And Monday night, we could have those hurricane conditions. Needs to speed up, though. It's only moving 2 miles an hour. And finally, tropical storm conditions in northeast Mexico and South Texas beginning Monday. All of this is going to be kind of up in the air right now because we don't know about the center reformation. If the center is really reforming under this blob right here, and we right now at 11 o'clock midnight have everything initialized down here, and the track like this, we could be seeing a track more like this. We could be seeing, instead of a 60-mile-per-hour storm at landfall, if it's 60 now, it could be an 80-mile-an-hour storm at landfall. So I want you guys to get some rest along the Texas coast. There's no reason to panic yet, but I do want you guys tomorrow morning to tune in and see the latest on this storm and see if Nicholas is getting any stronger, because right now, I do have to say on this Brownsville radar, I am pretty impressed with this radar signature. And who knows, if it is cranking, maybe it's moving faster in this direction. So we're going to watch very carefully overnight, and I will keep you posted with the latest. I'm Mike Nasel with continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Nicholas off the coast of South Texas, and I'll be back with more later. Take care.